Forget Tinubu and help yourselves. Obaseki, governor of Edo State, tells Nigerians. Governor Gordon Obaseki of Edo State has lambasted Nigeria's central government, saying the country's biggest problem is the failure of the federal government. Governor Obaseki, who linked the rising socio-economic challenges in Nigeria to the failure of the central government to live up to its responsibilities while speaking to journalists in Benin City, the Edo State capital, decried the deplorable state of federal rules in the state. The governor called for urgent action to salvage the situation and reduce the suffering of commuters and other citizens using the roads, describing the condition of federal road in the state as appalling. Governor Baseki recounted his experience when he traveled on the federal roads linking Uromi in eastern southeast of Edo State to Agbo in Delta State. He claimed he saw over 1,000 articulated trucks stuck with goods as a result of the poor state of the roads. He said, I went to Eastern Land a few days ago and I passed through Uromi and Edo State to Agbo in Delta State and saw almost 1,000 trailers stuck on that bad federal government road, but it took a few minutes to traverse our state roads when we entered from Igwebe, Ujogba to Ugoneki in Edo State. The problem today is the failure of the central government. The road network in Edo that ought to be a blessing to us is not. The federal government roads in Edo are connecting several locations across the country, but the roads are bad. You can't go from the west to the east, from the north to the south without passing through Edo State. That is why we have many federal roads here, but none are motorable as well are bad because of the failure of the central government's Governor Obaseki said. Yes, that was what he said. And again, he said, Nigeria in trouble. Help yourselves. Nigerian governor tells residents. Also, he has called on the residents of Edo State to help themselves by contributing to the development of the state, saying that the federal government has thrown the country into an economic crisis. The country is in crisis economically. We can't continue to fold our hands. Yes, we can't continue to fold our hands and wait for a country that cannot even help us. Rather, we will do all we can to help ourselves and our state, Mr. Obaseki said on Thursday in Benin at a workshop to discuss the implementation of state's new land use charge law, according to a statement forwarded to Premium Times by Kuzu Osagi, the special assistant on media projects to the Edo State government. President Bola Tinubu's reforms, removal of petroleum subsidies and forest exchange liberalization have continued to push up the price of goods and services in Nigeria, with the high inflation rate and the economic hardship causing unease across the country. The Edo State Governor Obaseki said the state government has resorted to taking care of those who cannot even feed themselves in the state. How many? What is the percentage? From our revenue, we have decided to take money from our internally generated revenue to look after those that can't feed the poorest of the poor. We are doing our best as an administration to make things easy in Edo State for our citizens who have trust in this government, the governor said. If you are truly thriving, a thriving country, states will survive on their own without relying on Abuja. Whether they give us or not, we will survive as a state. We have been surviving before now. Our administration is transparent and accountable. That is why the World Bank trusts us. Workers' unions have kicked against the Nigeria government's reforms, while Mr. Tinubu has continued to appeal for understanding and calm, arguing that his actions are for the good of the country. The federal government on Thursday announced 5 billion naira palliative to each of the states to cushion the effects of the removal of fuel subsidy. Yeah, this man is praising himself. Obaseki. Even in as much he has said, oh, he did this, he has, the same people will tell you they have done this. Of course, unfortunately, Tinubu has not done anything. He's just begging and begging and begging. Oh, it's unfortunate. The federal government palliative of 5 billion naira to every state in Nigeria is to cushion the effects of subsidy removal. Should not be given to Edo State because this governor Obaseki will only plunder it. The Edo people will not benefit from it. He will turn around to criticize the federal government. He is shameless. Ah, really? He's shameless. So what about other governors? Are they going to give? Because that is what they are. People are talking about all these governors. We have done. They've done it in the past. We've seen it in the past. Well, even before we are going to be apportioning blame where necessary. I think Edo State, when the people, when journalists were talking about some of the governors who had done something for their state, I think about four that I can remember: the governor of Kwara, and the governor of Edo State, and Lagos State, and what was this Borno. That one did a lot, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be enough. Edo State at least had tried to do something. They shake body quickly. As soon as the subsidy was removed, they quickly brought out a plan. But today, Tinubu has not done anything. No. He's just begging people and begging people. But one thing I know is that the story of Obaseki is like, appearing to look like that of Governor Otton, which a lot of people were accusing him, the former governor of Benue State, accusing him that he was just concentrating on talking about what the federal government did or what they did not do instead of him to face a governance. I think blaming the federal government all the time. Of course, it's this same Obaseki that told Nigerians that anything like palliative is discount, and which all of them they know. I'm sure he's speaking because he's not in the ruling party. If he was still in the ruling party, they no born and well make it talk. Say we be. He no go talk nada. But that is their usual way. So guys, let's know your points in the comment section.